Hey guys, here's the GM walkthrough of the Crosshead ship fort map. A couple things to mention. First of all, this is a huge map, as you can tell, and it's in multiple levels. So be aware that you've got performance settings that you can give your players, and they can ratchet their performance and their frame rates down if they feel like they're on a potato computer. So just keep that in mind, and you'll want to test it and stress test it with maybe a couple players ahead of time to see what the optimal settings are for them. Second thing is there's a lot of interactions here. I want to show you how to use them. First of all, it's optional, but I've got, anytime you see generally these trapdoors, you've got a pair of tiles, this tile down here, and then this tile above it, and this tile just hides on its own. It may look like it's open to you as the GM, but to your players, it's closed right now. You can interact with these tiles if you open them up. If you have Monk's active tiles involved, you'll be able to see, or installed, you'll be able to see the different rules that apply as it plays a little sound. It causes the trapdoor to open, and then you can go in and out once the trapdoor is open. You can even turn it off from the level below as well. This tile here is what actually does the teleporting up and down. So if you ever want to see what that looks like, you can see the rule set here. It's a great thing to know about if you ever want to create a similar interaction in other places. If you ever want to disable those, you just go to your tile picker and you can right click that and you can disable it here. That essentially enables and disables that tile. You can also, and you may also want to disable other egress points. If I go down here, you'll notice I also have some of the standard drawings that levels enable. So here's a stair drawing. If you ever wanted to disable that because you wanted to block access for temporarily or permanently, you just click the icon there, the lock icon. Likewise, this is a elevator, takes you down to the cargo hold. You may also want to disable this at some point. So that's how you disable those. Keep in mind that these are operating on different levels. So a player that is up here on this deck, they're actually at level 2. And in order for them to come down all the way to here, they're going to cross this gangplank. There's actually special stairs here to bring them from essentially what is level 20 all the way down to level 0. So there's a big jump from this upper deck. It's even higher than the main deck. There's this upper deck. And in fact, there's even another deck on top of that, but this upper deck will take them down to this level. So if you ever have players that get lost, maybe because they didn't traverse these hotspots the right way, just instruct them to go back through the hotspot and see if that doesn't sort them out. You may find yourself as the GM just adjusting heights of tokens every once in a while if they should go astray. Keep in mind also that there are not only some automated places to go up and down, but you can even go underneath many of these decks. So, remind your users that there's also the ability to go under some of these decks and they'll find certain things. Some other things to keep in mind, there is sound design throughout each level, and the sounds and lights are in many cases aware of the daytime and nighttime. So if you turn off the lights, the lights on the decks will generally go on, and also the sound, the ambient sound, especially outside, will mute and it'll become a slightly different sound. So there's not as many seagulls flying around and things like that. I did keep some lights turned off just for performance reasons. If you're not going to use the entire map, it's always good to just turn lights off. Keep in mind that they'll be off if your players go exploring. You may want to turn them on, or you can use Monk's active tiles to make these interactable. So when a player walks in, you can have them be able to turn on the lights. Just help keep performance generally optimized. You'll want to get to know your ship. Of course, make sure that you've imported everything from the journals, prefabs, and scenes. If you are running something other than D&D 5e, there is a special prefab compendium that will be created for you. You're going to want to agree to the prompt when it prompts you to do that. You can come by my Discord if you have any questions or issues with that. But you will end up importing your journal entry, and it's in there that you can get to know your ship fortress. This was put together by Crosshead, really great rooms, just a ton of intelligent design around building a fortress, and one that you can have a lot of different levels of storytelling with. You can read about this map from Crosshead here. You can read about some of the things that I've implemented from a Foundry design perspective as well. I do call out that there's optional functionality with Monk's Active Tile triggers and the tagger module. You'll have to install those. They will not install automatically when you install the Crosshead Baileywiki map. And second thing is there's some optional vehicles and mechanisms support. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But again, that will not install automatically. You'll need to install that from the Foundry directory. Speaking of the ship prefabs, your airship and all of your other ships are available as deployable prefabs. They're all in the prefab actor compendium. You can just drag them straight out and they will look like this, right? So they're fully enabled. They're just like their counterparts in the main map, except that you can move them around and you can, you can change their position and other things. So they can really be deployed onto any map in any configuration. Some things to keep in mind. First, any of your ships that were odd, maybe ships, like in case you don't want to go driving a restaurant around, there's a seaworthy version of those. So this is the seaworthy version of the tavern. And you can see some of them marked with seaworthy. If they have a twin, they'll be seaworthy or not over here on the right. They do all have sound built in, lights, everything else that you would expect to see. They use the tagger modules so that their special interactions will still work as you drop them into different scenes. But one thing I want to point out is each one of them has a special drawing embedded in it. And if I open up my quick edit mode for token attacher and I click in this, you'll see the outline of this drawing. Otherwise, it's really invisible. If I double click on it and I go to the vehicles tab, if I have the vehicles module installed, this is set to automatically capture tokens. And it's also set to do that regardless of the elevation of the token. What that lets you do, if you choose to use it, we'll just drag one of our wildcard tokens here. And if I move this ship, the tokens will move with it. Now this is entirely optional. It's not something that you need, but if you plan on moving your ships around in the scene, you'll probably want to use it. I just highly recommend you be careful with it. You're going to want to be really careful not to drag this control token into that region, or you could find your ship just flying off the screen and be unrecoverable. You have to drag it back out again. There is a setting that you can set up. If you go to module settings, if you go to token attacher is what powers these. You can prevent movement from multi-level token and vehicles on a token basis. So if you check this off, you won't run into the problem of accidentally grabbing a control token inside of your vehicles. So that's it. You guys have fun exploring and creating your stories around this. Feel free to come to my Discord if you have any problems or don't know how something works. Let us know in the comments if you like this kind of thing, if you'd like to see more collaborations like this, and if there's any improvements for that matter to do to this. As its first release in a very complicated map, there's inevitably going to be some bugs and things that we've missed along the way, so feel free to let us know and we'll patch those and issue releases as they're required. And in the meantime, thanks everybody and have fun with the map.